Katie of the Audio Belle, and I am here with PS Audio's Paul McGowan.
Because normal it's like a sine wave, you know, and normal is that zero crossing point.
Yeah.
Where, you know, there's a little wrong, there's a little right, and that's normal. And every once in a while, everything goes right, and that's not normal. And everything goes wrong, and that's not normal. So they showed up and had a warrant for my arrest and hauled me off to jail. So that was my first jail experience.
Yeah. You were just warming up though.
I was just getting warmed up. The radio station had said, well, you know about this electronic stuff? And I said, yeah. And so we need new phono preamps. Could you design them for us? There's two kinds of phase. There's electrical phase and there's acoustical phase. And we'd rather have as much of that lower mid-range covered by a ribbon than by a woofer. So that necessitates a very quick roll-off, which would be a multiple slope filter. Wow, this is cool. And I started hearing audiophile systems and kind of fell in love with the whole thing.
Wow.
That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Well, I've always been a fan of tubes. I've loved tubes for years. I mean, my first full preamp that I ever owned was an Audio Research SP3, and I loved that preamp. But I never wanted to manufacture tubes or products with tubes in them because despite the fact that I love their sound, they're so volatile, they're microphonic, they die, they have all kinds of reasons not to like them. But the sound is glorious. And I always thought I could do better than the sound of a vacuum tube. And I tried for years in voltage gain stages. Never succeeded, but I tried for a long time. And when what had actually happened is I had designed a number of our power amplifiers. And I got stuck at one point. I was trying to build a power amplifier that really matched everything else that we did and lived up to my expectations in terms of sound quality. And I tried 2 or 3 different new designs, and I was just running into dead ends, into brick walls. And so I was talking with my friend Arnie Udell, and this is after I'd left Genesis, and I just was sharing my frustration with him. I said, you know, I'm really good at doing this and this, but I am struggling with this power amp, and I hate working on power amps. There's high voltage, it makes my hand shake when I get near them. I just, you know, they're tough beasts to work on, and I'm not sure I'm the best designer to do this. And he said, well, you know, you ought to get Bascom King, to design a power amp for you. And because he could do a hell of a lot better job than you can. Arnie was always pretty blunt. And I said, yeah.
Nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy. And I said, yeah, but Bascom mostly designs tube power, and I won't have a tube power amp stage. And to this day, I mean, power tubes on the power output stage suck. I don't like them. I'll never put it into a PS Audio product because they're voltage devices, and I don't want an output transformer, and I don't want anything to do with that. They're not suited for that. But as a voltage gain stage, they're really exceptional. I don't know of anything better.
So you could put them on the gain stage as opposed to the output stage.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's what we did. But I was still a little, and I talked to Bascom about it. Bascom said, I will consider designing a power amp for you with my name on it, because I don't want to take the credit. I mean, Bascom does a lot of undercover stuff, and a lot of people have Bascom King design products that they put their name on as designer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to name any names here, but that is fairly prevalent. And Bascom is just a great listener and a great designer. But we would never do that because we honor our designers. And it's not just the Hall Design Club. I mean, we have Ted Smith, we have Darren Myers, and Chris Brunhaver, Bascom King, Arnie helped with the speakers. So, for us, it's more of a family thing. Our check just came for our taco.
Okay, I thought he was going to steal our tacos.
I know, like, you could lose your hand for that. So anyway, I talked to Bascom, and he said, if I'm going to put my name on it, it's going to have a damn tube in it.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I think I know how to best your tube. And we're going to have a blind A/B shootout. I will design my best shot on an input stage. We agreed that it's going to be a solid state MOSFET output.
Yeah.
And because we both believe in that. And so I said, you design your best input stage with a vacuum tube, and I'll design mine with high voltage MOSFETs. And so Bob, our chief engineer, Bob Stather, and I designed this really wickedly cool voltage gain stage, and we built it onto a tube socket that it could plug right into a tube, but just in name only, and it had MOSFETs bristling up the top. And
Yeah.
It was bitchin' sounding. It was really, really good.
Sounds cool.
It was very cool. And Bascom had his tube, and so came the day of the big shootout. We sat it down, and we had a technician go behind there, and we didn't know what we were listening to. They were the exact same gain. So we sat there, and here was A, we listened. Here was B, we listened. Go back to A, go back to B. We went back and forth, and it was. Bascom and I agreed. And I said, I don't know which one this is, but I don't remember if it was A or B, whatever. And we both agreed. Oh, no shit, that one. That's the one that we're going with, whatever that is. And I said, now Bascom, if that's my stage, you lose your tube. And he goes, I got it. I'm in. A bet's a bet. And we turned out, and of course, it was the stupid vacuum tube. Just annihilated our MOSFET circuit.
That is so funny.
And so I said, okay, PS Audio's going tubes. So now our preamp, the BHK preamp, has a vacuum tube on its input.
Really?
As the gain stage, but MOSFETs for the output stage, which is where they belong. And our power amp has a vacuum tube on the voltage gain stage, and MOSFETs on the output stage.
So you were somewhat converted to the dark side?
I was converted to the dark side, yeah. Well, I'm all about performance. I mean, at the end of the day, if we can build products that honors the music, I don't care if it runs on a steam engine. We'll build it.
And if it sounds
If it works
good.
and it sounds good, then we're in.
Yeah. I guess I just have one more question
Okay.
for you. So you get people that write letters to you asking you questions.
Yep.
And I was just wondering, what's the weirdest one you've ever received?
So what's the weirdest one?
Yeah, the weirdest one.
I have like sitting on 4,000 questions right now that have gone unanswered. And I haven't looked at every one of them. I don't know that I have a good answer for that. I probably should. I mean, I get some pretty strange questions. I don't know that I'd be able to pick one out. Nothing's just jumping up, as a great story.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
You'll have to find it and get back with me.
I'll have to find it and get back to you.
What about your favorite one? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, my favorites are the ones where they challenge me, and I, as an engineer, I fully understand what we call the flat Earth people, who believe that if I can't measure it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And that, I get it. It really I make fun of them because it kind of cracks me up. But I mean, it's like arguing with somebody about religion. There is no argument. We have our beliefs, and there it is, Or trying to convert a Republican to a Democrat or vice, it's just.
Yeah.
We get so mired in our beliefs, and the thing that, when they ask me these questions, because they pierce all the time. Well, but, there's this, I won't get into this, but there's this guy with this null test, and he's challenged me on that. That may be one of the weirdest things, that his internet challenge.
Internet challenge?
The YouTube challenge. Yeah, you can look it up. He's challenged me because I offended his honor by saying he's full of shit. So, and he got very upset, which he said, and forgive me, you're a wonderful guy. But I can get carried away. And I said something that offended him, so now he's got this internet challenge and take it on, and we're going to do dueling things, and he's going to prove that I am completely wrong, that even though I hear things, it's all placebo effect. And
How did you offend him?
I don't remember what I said. I said something about where we were talking about capacitors or something. I mean, he's definitely of the, I can prove, he has this null test, and the null test is something I'm very familiar with. I don't know if you're, something Bob Carver did for quite a while, and it's actually, in a sense, it's very accurate in that if you take two electrical signals and you put them into a scope and you look at the difference between the two, if there is a difference, you should see something. And we've done, we do null tests all the time where we'll take two different wires or we'll take two different components and we'll run signals through them, gain match them, and then when you look at the scope, you'll see something. And in fact, we do it's called a difference test. And if you buy one of our power plants, we have a scope that we built in just to make all these guys angry. And we show, here's the incoming sine wave, here's the outgoing sine wave, and the difference between that, which is this null test, is shown as a different signal. And you can see it on the scope. So it's totally legit, it's totally real. But his whole premise is, all right, if that's true, which it is, that I should be then able, if you're telling me that this wire sounds different than that wire, and I run my signal through this thing, I should see a difference, right? And I don't, and here it is, and there is no difference, therefore it doesn't exist. And I don't want to get into a pissing match with him over that, because, if you set out to prove something doesn't exist, it's pretty easy to do. As opposed to accepting the findings of people who have better systems than you that actually can, on a continual basis in blind A/B testing, can routine, like we do it all the time. We do blind A/B testing, and over and over and over, we come up with the same answers and the same results. And so the right way to do that, if you really want to put on your science hat, is when you have someone like that can do that over and over, and it's not just me, it's plenty of people in the industry. Now the challenge is, well, what are the differences? Why are we, and what are we hearing? And why? If we, for example, then we're going to eat our tacos. So here I go. I'm off on a rant.
I'm enjoying this.
Okay. Well, so for example, let's say that this drives the digital audiophile guys nuts, right? Let's say that I will tell you that this USB cable sounds different than that USB cable, and they're gonna. I can see it now. Smoke's coming out of their ears. And it's digital. It can't. But let's imagine that actually happens, right? Well, there's two ways to go about it. You can say it can't exist, therefore it doesn't, and it's snake oil, and you're just full of crap.
Yeah.
Or you could say, okay, I trust this person's hearing. It is repeatable. He can blindly say, that's that cable, and no, that's that cable. Why is that? And if it isn't, if the bits are actually the same, let's try and be scientists about it and figure out what the hell is going on. It could be something where we're saying, well, it's the wire, and we could be totally wrong. It could be that this one just has better shielding. This one actually has, the shield tied at one end and it doesn't at the other, and so noise is getting in and is jittering the thing. And yeah, we could be totally wrong because we suppose it's this, but it's actually that. And that's a lot different for those who want to take the time and be scientific about it, which I really don't have a whole lot of interest in. I got enough on my plate, and I'm not, and I wish them the best of luck. I think somebody should figure it out. But that's the right way to go about this kind of thing, is to accept that we do hear these differences, and if you want to be scientific about it, then start with it's like physics. We see these differences. We can't explain them, but they exist. Quantum mechanics. How do two particles a million miles away affect each other because at the same time? If you study anything about quantum mechanics, that's really bizarre stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our models of physics don't explain that. In fact, that's voodoo. But instead of saying, well, that just can't be because it doesn't fit my model. No, if you're a scientist, you say, oh, holy crap, how does that happen? And then you go investigate it.
And then you prove it,
and you prove it, or you just say, I don't know. But And anyway, enough rant.
All right.
Let's get to the tacos.
Let's dig in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Paul and I are going to have our tacos. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This is the Audio Belle signing out.